Princess Casino and Ramada Inn. And of course, straight ahead of us is the Amazonia Mall. It's unusual that I'm in this neck of the woods so late in the day, that is close to 8 a.m. in the morning when these stores open. So I'm going to take advantage of that to visit the mall and some of the stores in the area, in the neighborhood. But what I've done in the last couple of days is to simply stay indoors to avoid all the chaos that is happening here in Guyana. Of course, those of you who following the news from Guyana will know that it's election season, and this is usually referred to as the political silly season. The current government vows to give everybody a hard time, all the opposition, whether imagined or real, a difficult time, and they've been succeeding in doing that. So I have stayed out of the crossfire. Don't want to be catching strays at this point because I have no interest in participating in politics in Guyana. Stupid politics, really, because it's all about money. Guyana has recently come into a lot of oil wealth, and so the politicians are going crazy over stealing that money, passing it to themselves and their friends and family. Right? Since politics is a dirty game. And so I've managed to stay out of the fray for a while. Of course, you guys know that I was almost arrested. I was detained by the police for filming a video on Heroes Highway during the visit of the US Secretary of State. And since then I've actually stayed away from the public activities of the country. Now that is looking at the Demerara River Bridge from this parking lot at Amazonia Mall. I just wanted to show you another view. That is the high span section, right? Those are the pillars that will support the high span. But as you can see beyond them, the section of the bridge that crosses the river continues. Those pillars, posts, and someone refers to them as what columns support the bridge have already been completed. And what is happening now is they are laying the ramp. As you pan east, that's towards the east, you can see behind the hotel, between these two hotels, you can see that's the ramp section of the bridge where there are a couple of people working on it, standing on it. And that ramp has been completed across the Eastbank Public Road. So I've been managing to stay out of the fray by simply staying indoors. But what has happened in the last 48 hours is a showdown between the Mohammeds and the government, because the government is afraid that the younger Mohammed will contest the next general elections for president and is very likely to win, or at least to dethrone the current administration because of his popularity. So giving him a hard time, they fabricated all kinds of charges and tried to have him arrested, accuse him of assaulting female. They've accused him of theft, of taxes, in other words, underpaying on taxes for his vehicle imports. most recently they tried to repossess some of his luxury vehicles, and that's a drama is happening. But I've managed to stay out of the way, stay out of the fray, because I'm really not interested in the silliness and the stupidity of Guyanese politics. Those of you who've been following what I do is I'm building alternative institutions. My strategy for dealing with Guyana is to build better institutions than the ones that exist, a better university, better hospital system, better housing system. And to do that, I've decided to go through businesses, creating multiple businesses to do that. And to provide an alternative, basically.
Distance, 4 miles. Duration, 1 hour, 32 minutes, 45 seconds. Pace, 30 minutes, 27 seconds.
So yeah, what we're doing
mile.
is we're providing an alternative. That is what I'm doing, is providing a better system than the one that exists, a better university, better hospital system, better housing system, better transportation systems, better airlines, and so on. So that is my approach. I think it's possible to create better alternatives to the corruption and the mismanagement and the mediocrity that is part of the current system or systems in the country. So that's where I come in. This is the Amazonia Mall. Right, we're gonna. Mall's not open. They're not open.
No, not yet.
Okay. Apparently the mall opens at 10. But yeah, that's where I come in. And of course, to do that, I'm going to give you an update on my companies and what we're doing, where we are in the near future. Sit down in the studio and give you an update on that. But for now, the mall is not open here yet. Apparently they open at 10. So you're going to have to come back in at some other time. But I think Starbucks is open. So we're going to see if we can get me a beverage. Starbucks in the morning. So yes, guys, we're here in the Starbucks. Just got me a, what is it? A mocha frappuccino. It's nice coffee, nice beverage here from Starbucks. It's about, what's it, $1,400, about $7 US, and it's about what, 9? The mall opens at 9:30 or 10, so we have some time to sit and wait. Now, so guys, here we are in the Starbucks here at Zoni Mall. I thought I'd try me a mocha frappuccino. It's 1,400 Guyana dollars, about $7, a little under $7, like $6.80 US, and served like they do, of course, everywhere else in the world. This is a tall mocha frappuccino on a Wednesday morning here in Georgetown, well, Providence. Right, this is a Providence location. Taste test, actually it's quite good. Just as I remember it, it's actually a blended coffee with ice and chocolate. So it's a chocolate frappuccino with ice. Of course, there are a number of other beverages that you can purchase. The most popular one being caramel frappuccino. I got the mocha because I love chocolate. So start out by saying is that I do not have any political ambitions here in Guyana, so I kind of stay out of the political fray. I keep insisting on this channel that it's a channel for intelligent people, and the reason why is because I expect people on this channel to be able to separate the issues from the politics, right? So every time somebody says to me, what about the PNC, or what about Burnham, or what about Granger, whenever I make some criticism of the quality of the infrastructure here, I actually have to do a double take, because I keep repeating this is a channel for intelligent people, but the algorithm keeps showing my videos to people that I consider to be not intelligent, right? So I kind of have to constantly bite my tongue, because what I really want to do is to swear at these people for not being able to understand that just because my comments criticize the quality of infrastructure being built in Guyana doesn't mean that I have some kind of political agenda. It's just that I'm a Guyanese living in Guyana. I've also lived everywhere else around the world, on several continents. I know quality. I know when we're getting shortchanged, when what we're getting in terms of infrastructure does not meet international standards. And that's basically what this channel is about, at least at this point in its evolution. We're basically showing the developments in Guyana over a period of oil and gas. In other words, when I started this channel, it was to show how Guyana is changing and developing, because a lot of people who watch this channel in the beginning, 8 years ago, were people who had never had come back to Guyana in 40 years, 30 or 40 years. And so I was simply bringing people up to date on what the country looks like 40 years after they left Guyana. And so I did street views, I did street tours, telling people, this is Rob Street, or this is Camp Street, and so on, and walk the length of the street, just pointing out how things have changed. But once oil and gas production started in 2020, in December 2019, January 2020, I actually explained at that point that I will pivot to showing the developments, how Guyana is changing during the period of oil and gas. Because back then, 5 years ago, people were arguing, that it would take a generation or two for Guyana to catch up. In other words, something like 20 or 40 years. In other words, people who are alive now, people who are running the country will not be alive when the country finally reaches development status, can maybe call the developed country. And so what I've been trying to do is to answer that question: how long will it take for Guyana to become a developed country? And showing the changes, the quality of the roads as the government invested in the road infrastructure, and arguing for a different direction. In other words, saying, look, we shouldn't be building, if you want to develop this country to develop the country status, we shouldn't just be building roads, we should be building railways, we should be building, ferries, we should be building new airports, not just renovating the airport, but building brand new world-class airports, 10 of them, one in each region, for example. We should be building high-speed rail and light rail connecting all of the village and so on. So that is the gist of what I'm saying. None of it is really political. I'm not trying to criticize politics. I'm just saying this is what logically we should be doing if we're actually aiming to catch up. And so what has happened in recent times, or what's happened in the last month or two, is that politicians have started to go at it, because of course the next political election is within a year. It's going to be sometime later on this year, and there's an aggressive positioning, and the people who are commenting on this channel over time have become very it seems as if the algorithm is showing my videos to more and more people who are steeped in politics. And so I'm constantly having to push back. And thankfully I'm getting some support from my long-time viewers. But this is really not about politics, not about political ambitions. If you're involved in corruption, I'm going to call you out. And that's the case here in Guyana. And a lot of people are offended when I call out the corruption. If you're involved in creating substandard infrastructure, I'm going to call you out. And that's what I've been doing. It has nothing to do with any kind of political campaign. But recently what has happened is that the politicians have started to go at it, involving serious attacks on potential presidential candidates such as the Mohammeds. And the problem is that if you don't be careful, you can get caught in the crossfire. In the last 2 days, this is over the last 2 days, the weekend, several people have been killed. One of them was a young man of Amerindian descent, ancestry, who was shot by the police in Linden. And following that, immediately there was a protest, a street protest in Linden, at which another young man, now an Afro-Guyanese young man, was shot and killed. So basically what is happening is that the society is becoming more and more violent as election season approaches, and it's become more imperative for me to stay out of the crossfire so that I don't catch any strays. So if you see me missing from these posting videos for a few days, because I like to post my videos from outside, from walking around outside, so you can see in real time what I'm talking about. But if I'm missing, it's because I'm not trying to catch any strays in the political crossfire that's happening in Guyana. So I'm probably gonna have to start making more and more videos in my studio at home, just so that I'm not out here exposed to the political crossfire. But that's what is happening. Currently, we have a problem with serious fatal accidents on the road. Right, the Heroes Highway has been branded as concussion highway with the U.S. Secretary of State. And since then, there was a serious accident, I think over the weekend, where another vehicle ran into the median, destroyed the lamppost, and completely destroyed the vehicle. And I think the driver was seriously injured. Thankfully, no one else was in that vehicle. But since then, there have been several other accidents on the roads. So we're getting a lot of road deaths and police shooting deaths. There are 2 young men were shot over the weekend. And then before the end of the weekend, or just earlier in the week, that is, I think on Monday, another shooting occurred where a previous supporter of the government, one Mr. Gali Khan, shot his girlfriend and then trying to attempt suicide himself was not successful. So that was like the 5th death over the weekend. Two bandits were shot and killed in my neighborhood. So that's what is happening. That is what is happening in this period of time. And the reason why I'm staying off the streets and not really posting videos recently for the last 4 or 5 days is because I'm basically trying to stay out of the fray, trying not to catch any of the stray bullets. But this is what's happening in Guyana, guys. This is what is happening. This is my
attention, low battery.
Inside Starbucks, just got me a frapple. I'm gonna give you an update from my home studio in the future. But that's what's happening here on Wednesday morning in April 9th, Wednesday, April 9th at Providence. But that's what's happening, guys. If you want to see more content like this, look like subscribe. Here we are in Starbucks. This is my frap on a Wednesday morning. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later!